Hey, folks. Uh, I'm Indigo, and or Chris, either one you want to call me. Same person. Anyway, I wanted to share my city on City Skylines with you. I'm kind of proud of it. I finally got a city that I was really happy with in a lot of different ways. So before I actually go on a tour of the city, I wanted to show you my thought process and how I decided to lay out the city. So I chose the map, 7 lakes, and I decided instead of making one city, I was going to make 7 cities, or not even cities. They're more like boroughs, kind of like New York City is one city connected by boroughs. And so this is 7 lakes, 7 boroughs, and each borough has its own administrative, the city hall and things like that. And then there is the capital of the overall region, which is Trastevere sul Bel Largo. And as you'll notice here, I use a lot of a variety of English, Spanish, Italian, German, Dutch names. I like a variety. But anyway, as you can see in this overview, the different boroughs are Stresa, San Giorgio, Christianstad. Then we have Hammersmith up there, up the upper right. Then we come into the main borough, the largest borough is called Interlaken. And then across from Interlaken, we have the capital borough, which is Trastevere sul Bel Lago. Then we have another borough down here called Cupertino. Then we have Prati Virjuic. So those are the different boroughs in the region, and each of them are around different lakes. We have Lago Maggiore, Lago Tevere, Lago Lungo Lago. We have Lake George and Lago di Stresa and Lake Cupertino. So you'll see again a variety of names. So let's actually take a closer look at the city, and I hope you like it. We're gonna go ahead and load this cinematic camera. Okay, we're gonna actually slow this down a bit, because last time I did it, it was just a little too fast. And we're gonna change this. Let's say 20 frames per second. And let's load that and see where that takes us. Okay. So we're starting in Interlaken, the northern end of Interlaken, as the sun goes down. And Interlaken, like I said, is the largest borough, and it's comprised of islands and canals. And Interlaken is the sports, cultural, and business center for the region. So we're flying over the sports areas right now, and there's this. I put a lot of the banks and insurance companies and things out here. And this is also the center, the transportation hub. So if you can see on the right here, like in the middle right, see the main train station coming in from with outside connections. And we'll fly over the lake here, and we'll see a little more of the city. Sorry, if I keep saying city, I mean borough. And there's a little island called Market Island. And on that island is everything related to outdoor markets and things like that. And there are some residences there, but mainly it's for exchange of goods, market goods and things like that. And then we fly into the main section of the island here. And as you can see, now I do have a house here, but it's not my principal home, but I decided to put me a house here. Coming up here on the top left, that section over there, you can see there's an opera hall. And then all the museums are on that particular island. And you're flying over my neighborhood right here, where the metro station is. The monorail just flew over I have a city home, a townhouse there. And then we're flying into the next borough, which is called San Giorgio Christianstad. And San Giorgio Christianstad is like the kind of like the transportation and technology center for the region. And so there's like a lot of data centers here and things like that, a lot of tech companies in this region also. And this is where you also find the marina where the rich people take their yachts and things like that. But trust me, I don't own one, even though I designed the city. So as we cross over here now, we are actually heading into the next borough, which is called Hammersmith, which is one of the larger boroughs. And Hammersmith is the center for education and sea transport. So I put the large university, which is called the University of Hammersmith, but it's not spelled the English way. It's HAMMERSMIJT. I know, kind of strange, but I did it because I could. And you can see on the lower right, as we fly over the university, and then you can see the port over here. We have 2 cargo hubs, and we have 2 cruise hubs. So the outside connections that are coming in from the water are coming in through here. And as you notice, this has doesn't have as many high rises down here in Hammersmith. I wanted to keep this all a lower rise. I don't know why I did that, but that was a conscious choice. Lower and mid-rise buildings. And as I mentioned, it's not the largest, it's the second largest of the boroughs. It has a population of about 14,000. And then as we turn here, we're going to head back up. And you're going to, this also has the largest park in the city. It's called Redwood Park. We're flying over it right now. Give the people a chance to relax. And then this road right here separates San Giorgio Christianstadt from Hammersmith. So we're back now flying over San Giorgio Christianstadt. How's that for a Danish Italian city name mix? I like to keep it all mixed up here. And again, this is services related to transportation. This is and it has some government down here because this is where the post office headquarters are and things like that. But it's businesses related to transport and international transport. So this is the hub where things come in. And as we cross this bridge over here, we are heading into Trastevere. The full name is Trastevere Sul di Bel Lago. And it is one of the older, not the oldest, but one of the 2 oldest boroughs in the area. And it is the capital borough. So this is the seat of government. So as you can see, as we fly up into the area here towards the middle of the screen, you're starting to see the regional capital building as well as the city hall for the borough. And most of these buildings are related to government. And as we fly over this particular borough, now the road that separates the borough is right coming up on the left through the middle of the screen. And this is one of the, I would have to say, the busiest corridor in the city. And it separates Trastevere from Prati Viljwijk. Is the borough coming up on the left. And Prati Viljwijk is the center of the fishing industry. So everything related to the fishing industry is in Prati Viljwijk. We just got a little portion of it, but we'll come back to it on the back end. Prati Viljwijk is one of the older neighborhoods, and a lot of the people that became rich from fishing have their castles and large homes over here in the hills, as you can see. Again, this is the main thoroughfare coming into the region. This roundabout is probably the biggest roundabout in this area as far, and it connects the highway going up to the left. There is actually the outside road connection. And as the camera pans down, you're getting to see more of Trastevere. This is again, residential and government, people to work in the government, maybe don't work in the government but wants to live in this part of town, live here. This roundabout here separates three boroughs, Prativille-Juic, Trastevere, and coming up on the top screen up on the left, we're coming into Cupertino. And Cupertino is the farming and forestry area. So everything that supports that industry is here in Cupertino. And Cupertino is a part of the oldest borough in the city. I had smaller little boroughs first. One was called Pescatori, and the other one was Cupertino. And they actually merged into Cupertino and grew. And this that we're coming across the lake now is an unincorporated area where I decided to put a zoo, amusement park area, things like that. Since there are residences there and people supporting that industry over there, I guess I'll maybe incorporate it into something. So if anybody has a really cool name, preferably a foreign sounding name, let me know. Greek, Russian, whatever. And now we're crossing beautiful Lake Stresa here, and we're coming into the borough of Stresa. And Stresa is where my main home is. It's the place that I call home. I picked Stresa because I like the smaller places and definitely love mountains. And Stresa is the convention city and the science city. So things having to do with science and research are here in Stresa. So it's not the education hub, but it is the science, and it also is big into tourism because of the observatories up on the top of the mountain. And as you can see, it's a little small place. I think the last time I checked, the population was about 7,400. And it's nestled into the steep foothills. It's like a little narrow valley in the foothills. And you won't be able to see my house. But if you look on that ledge coming up over there where the fence is on the left, that little neighborhood up there, amongst those trees, use my neighborhood. I actually have a little house there. I don't like really big houses, so I didn't design this palatial or load a palatial estate for me. It's just a little simple house, but nestled high up on a hill in the trees, which is where I like it. And I actually work in that building right in almost in the center to your screen. That's the building I designated where I work. It's an architectural firm. I love architecture, I should say. So my fake career in the city is I'm an architect, and that's where I work. And as we pan back over the city, you can see it's full of forest and mountains. My two favorite things. I'd actually take forest and mountains over water, believe it or not. But I live close to the water. And we're coming down into a lot of the science, where a lot of the research takes place, the research corridor. And naturally, it's a convention city, so we're flying over the largest convention center in the whole region. And we head back across the water. We'll take the scenic route back across the water. And we're going to head back into the capital, which is Trastevere. And we'll see a little more of that. This is the route that if I were going to the capital and I were going to drive. I did allow myself two vehicles. I have a Jaguar F-Type and a Tesla, the SUV. And my Jaguar, I should say Jaguar is not the F-Type, but it's the electric one. So I like electric vehicles, so you got me that. Again, we're flying over. You can see the palace, the royal palace of the region is right there. And so it's not, there's no king or anything like that, but I imagine that in one time the area was controlled by a king, so they built a palace, and so that's that. But right now it's just for tours and stuff like that. It's actually a hotel. I made it into like a palace hotel, and we're flying back over. You could get a different view of the capital. Interestingly, this was also most of these were two, except for Interlaken was the only one that was designed as one borough initially. This was a combination of two boroughs. One was called Trastevere, and this section right here where the capital is was called Vale. And so, in my little fake news thing, I said these were the last two that combined to make one borough. And my premise for making this one borough was that I would make it the capital, because I liked each borough separate and it was hard to combine them. But I decided to go ahead and do that and make it the capital region. So I had to fix it up really, really nice. And we're flying now. At the top of the screen is Prati-Villejuic, and the bottom of the screen is Cupertino. The highway separates the two. And we're gonna actually pan down, and again, as I mentioned before, this is the main thorough highway connection to the outside of the city. So when you're coming into the city, you'll pass through this section, and unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, tolls. The toll road, and now you get to see a little more of Prati-Villejuic. You can see and notice all the fishing markets down there and the fishing things like that. So that's the way this city. And right there in the roundabout, you can see the city hall. That's one thing I didn't point out in some of the other boroughs. The modern little city hall. I stuck it in the middle of a roundabout. And there's a little island for camping and things like that. So all of those buildings are businesses supporting the fishing industry. And then we'll head back over, and I think I mentioned this, but Interlaken is the only borough that's comprised of all islands. Oh.
Coffee, fuel of the modern economy.
Sorry about that, folks. But my camera just fell over. Okay, you can see the different islands here. Again, there's Market Island. I could have made that a little more elegant. All those forms of transportation crossing over. Maybe one day I'll take a re-look at that. Again, at the top of the screen, you see one of the islands where the museums and the opera and things are. That's like the culture island. The bigger island right here is in the middle is the businesses, a lot of banking, things like that, resident. And then the smaller island at the bottom of the screen is Market Island. And again, you're crossing over. And even though most of Interlaken, this over here coming up on the right, that actually I misspoke, because this over here on the right was actually another borough called Fairfax. And I decided to merge it with Interlaken, so I stand corrected. So Fairfax is now the western part of Interlaken, and as the video winds up, we're actually headed right back to where we started. You can see the big train station, and we're flying over the sports plexes. Over here, this is, like I said, this is one of the sports hubs. So I tried to put a lot of sporting things over here. And then we're winding up. This is my city. Put hours and hours and hours and hours of work into it. Actually, I had several cities start up on this same kind of geographic map. And I just started all over, but I think this is the one that I land on. This is my favorite. And I'll just continue to make updates and changes to this. And I hope you enjoyed the little tour of my city skyline. The city's called Vale di Sete. You can see it down there in the bottom of the screen, hopefully. Anyway, thanks for watching.